Will you dedicate 3 minutes to your well-being? Most people would say, yes, of course. But wait, I missed something. 3 minutes a day. And still, most people would say, yeah. And most people don't do it. So of course, you'd be asking to do what in those 3 minutes? And that's a valid question. You must be convinced that what you're doing in those 3 minutes is worth your time, makes sense, makes a difference, that it's worth doing. But let me tell you this. I've been offering a 3-minute-a-day practice to people for a long time now. I'm convinced that it's effective, powerful, even revolutionary. But my conviction doesn't really matter. For you to do it, you must be convinced of it. My students who follow my teachings do dedicate 3 minutes a day to their well-being, moving mindfully. That's what we do. That's what I offer. I lead them through a daily session. It requires no effort and very little time. They see the value of it. They notice pretty quickly that it makes a difference, that they are on a transformational journey. Some people drop off pretty quickly. They try it, they say, nah, this is not for me, and that's fine. I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think I am the right person for everybody. So it's quite okay for some people to turn the other way. But here's what I'm getting at. It happens all too often that people start the daily practice, they do the daily 3 minutes for a little while, and then they skip a day, and another day, and then they do one session, and they skip a week, and they do another session, and they skip another week, and they drop off little by little. And after some time, they notice that this doesn't work for them, and they quit altogether. And those are my people. They see the value in it. They comment on it. They notice the difference. It makes a difference for their lives, which means that it is valuable and worth their time. Not because I say so, they comment on it. And still, they drop off. It's not a time issue. I'm convinced of that, and I think you would agree. Not one of those people ever told me I couldn't find the time. I don't have 3 minutes a day. Never happens. So, if it's not a time issue, why would anybody stop doing something that they know is valuable for them? They see the value in it. They know it makes a difference for their lives, even though it takes very little time and hardly any effort. There's a word for what it takes. If you want to sustain a practice over time, do it daily, even if it's just 3 minutes a day. There's one thing you need: consistency. And it's not easy. I know that because I struggle with it too. It's not easy to create consistency. For example, I've tried many times in my life to sustain a meditation practice, and I failed many times. At this moment, I do have a meditation practice that I do more or less. I manage to sustain it pretty much daily. I reduced it to 10 minutes so that time won't be the issue. I can find those 10 minutes pretty much every day. Still, I skip some days. I forget about it, I leave it for later, and it never happens. I am not 100% consistent. And I'm not totally confident that it will stick this time either. Consistency doesn't just happen. There is a gap between wanting to do something and actually doing it. And if you want to do it regularly every time, the gap is even wider. You must do something actively to build a bridge over this gap, because the simple intention of doing something, the initial motivation you have when you start doing it, is simply not enough. It has to do with habits. If you want to build something new into your life, start a new behavior, even if it's for 3 minutes a day. If you want to stick with it, that is, do it repeatedly every day, what you're actually trying to do is build a new habit. And there's a lot of science on habit creation. There are clear, necessary building blocks to creating a habit, and they must be in place for a habit to stick. I'm not going to go into all of that now. I'll leave it for a future video. But I just want to make one thing clear to you and to myself. If you want to do something on a regular basis and you don't, it doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean you don't have willpower. It doesn't mean you are weak or good for nothing. All it means is that there are some missing links, missing blocks in the building of this new habit. I want to mention just one of the obstacles that happen very often because we are motivated in the beginning. We get too ambitious. We define a goal that is simply too big to sustain. If you want to start exercising and you decide to dedicate 1 hour a day to your new activity, it is probably simply too big, too unrealistic. You don't have that free hour every day. That kind of habit is much less likely to succeed. So the one big favor you can do to yourself when you try to implement a new behavior, to create a new habit, is to make it as small as possible. You want your commitment to be easy to fulfill. This is how you make success more likely. That's how I came up with my 3-minute daily practice. I tried it. I started with myself. I noticed that 3 minutes are just enough to make a tiny difference. I felt the difference by the end of the 3 minutes. Then I offered it to a small group of people, my pilot group. I led them through a 3-minute long daily session every day. It's a different movement exploration every day, but it's always exactly 3 minutes long. And my pilot group confirmed it. They supported my hypothesis. On most days, they felt a difference. By the end of the 3 minutes, they felt that something has happened. That's good enough. So together, we've discovered the smallest possible step that makes success much more likely to occur, because it is so small, and yet it is just big enough to make a difference, to be a step forward. And this is where it stands today. I have created a full year of 3-minute sessions, 365 daily explorations in movement. Each one is different. Each one explores another aspect of movement, another part of the body, another focus, another position. It is not boring. It is not a chore. It is not something you repeat mechanically. And yet, it's a habit. It's a sustained behavior that you do consistently every day. And it is so valuable because it is just big enough to make a small difference, which means that it is a step on a journey. You take a small step, a tiny step every day, and you find yourself on a transformational journey. The steps are small. The transformation grows over time, exponentially. It is real, observable, and it changes lives. And when I say that each little step makes a difference, let me tell you what I mean by that. We are working with movement. We explore ourselves in motion. So the clearest benefit that we notice after those 3 minutes is something that has to do with our body sensations and the way we move. So by the end of a 3-minute session, you may feel that you are breathing a little better, a little deeper, a little calmer. You may notice mobility in some parts of your body that you didn't even know existed. You may feel a little bit of flexibility in that part that we have been exploring. You may feel some relief in a painful part or less tension where you were tense or stiff. You may sense that some connections have been made. These connections are created in your brain, not in your body parts. For example, you lift your arm and you feel that it connects with your torso, with your ribs, that you actually take the force to move your arm from your center, from your core. That's just an example. So on most days, you end these 3 minutes simply feeling a little better, as if something in your body, in your sensation of self, has fallen into place, has found a better place, a better way to be. It's enjoyable, it's pleasurable, it feels good, and it makes you want to come back to it tomorrow and do another session. And still, you need consistency. You need to find a way to build this habit into your life, especially in the beginning, in the first few weeks. You must find the time and the place for it in your day. You must remember to come back to it. So here's what I did for you. I've created the content of this new habit of exploring yourself in movement every day for 3 minutes. The daily session is there for you, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Also, you get a daily email with a direct link to your daily session. One click and you have it in front of your eyes. It doesn't require any equipment, any preparation, no special clothing, so it really requires only 3 minutes. I've done my part, so I made it as easy, as immediate, as frictionless as possible for you to take action, to dedicate 3 minutes to your well-being, to yourself in action, in movement. And the one thing that I cannot do for you is actually do it. Take action, come back to it day after day. Build consistency. This would be your task. So let me ask you again, will you dedicate 3 minutes a day to your well-being? If you will, I've made it as easy as possible for you to follow through and make it a habit. Take a look at persistent growth, and you can start right now with day 1. Stay well, stay in motion,